Namato Ratanatayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening, everyone. So today is Saturday, the 30th of January 2021. And this is Achan Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. So as usual, I'm here with you all tonight. And this is our regular Dhamma discussion and reflection. Today in particularly, it's quite a sad news that over 105,000 people have lost their lives due to the coronavirus. Meanwhile, there are ups and downs in regards to the vaccination and transport and things. It is a time that we all need to be mindful of our own self. There was a story I heard that on one occasion there was one family lived indoor, and this lady was living indoor almost all of the time and didn't come to contact with anyone. And somehow one day she thought that it would be okay to go out with her friend for the dinner. And it happened, she got the coronavirus, and later on she died in the hospital. And meanwhile, there are other examples that been caring so good, but at the end of the day, when they went out just for the visit in the town and got the coronavirus too. So that's why this is a time that we all need to be very careful, and particularly this time it's all around, and we are very aware of that. Hello Yvonne, good evening. Tune and Sandra, Manish, Margaret, Simone, and everyone. So this is a time to be mindful of. Meanwhile, again, apologies for last night. While I was teaching through the Zoom to the Facebook Live, and on a Facebook I posted the Zoom account, and I unlocked with no one need to waiting list, so whoever has got the link, they could come and join the Zoom. And it happened that people hacked into, or not hacked basically, it's just joined in, and with ill thoughts. There were probably about 20 people just posting in different nasty words on a chat room, and also playing very unpleasant songs and unpleasant scenes on the Zoom. So it also disturbed so many people, and as a result I had to stop it before it continues. So that's why it was a disaster last night, and then it appeared that it is not just us. There are incidences reported that people are just hacking and disturbing the meetings. Sometimes they even use it for the TikTok application, social media. I hope I won't be on a TikTok. Okay, so today is the sutta number 6, which is the hawk. And this is about the remaining in our domain, or basically remaining in our own home would be the safest place. Even now, we can think about it. And when we look at the human history, the revolution of humans, we can see that humans were living in the caves to start off, and gradually developed their capability and making their own ways to develop their own domains or homes. And that's how we have got this so-called homes, and that we are living in the homes. And yet today I heard news saying that there is a problem, a shortage of homes, despite of there are so many hundreds and thousands of homes probably empty left by the millionaires, and still become less of homes. So that's how human beings have developed their domains and homes, where they can come and stay in safe. They feel safety. The moment when they enter to their house or even their flats, they feel that this is a place that I can feel safety. This is the place that I can feel comfortable. And the very moment, even nowadays, if you go out, you see that as soon as you got out from the house, there will be a surveillance videos looking after you. I remember when there was a underground bomb in London happened, and that time, in order to chase the persons or the group who planted the bombs, they have to study about 30,000 CCTV cameras. So we are always on the CCTV camera. So it's kind of, there is no safety around. But the very moment when we come into our own house, we feel safe and secure. And particularly this time of this pandemic, we all know that even the government is announcing everyone to follow the guidance and stay indoor inside their own house. If only necessary, then you can go. And again, when you are going, you have to make sure face covering, and social distance and so on, measures that you have to follow. The moment when we are in our own house or in a flat, we are safe so far, and we feel safer, and we know what is going on. So that's why this is known as a domain. In a way, like a coronavirus is like something which is hunting us. It's like zombies in movies. Zombies are following and getting you wherever they smell human flesh. So this coronavirus is like that too. Wherever we go, it's just get you, and then unsafety your face. So that's why the domain or our house is a place where we feel comfortable and secure, as long as we are not in contact with anyone else. So this is the domain that is comes further on in the spiritual practice, and that domain is basically the four establishment of a mindfulness. And how and why that is, let me read this discourse, and then we'll go on explaining that means. So this discourse is called the hawk. And this discourse starts in this way. Because once in the past a hawk suddenly swooped down and seized a quail. Then while the quail was being carried off by the hawk, he lamented, "We were so unlucky, of so little merit. We strayed out of our own resort into the domains of others. If we had stayed in our own resort today, in our own ancestral domain, this hawk wouldn't have stood a chance against me in a fight. But what is your own resort, Coil? What is your own ancestor domain? And this is the hawk is asking. And the Coil said, the freshly plowed field covered with the clods of soil. So this is basically the story that the hawk from the sky swamped and took this small creature, Coil. It's very difficult to pronounce for me. So Coil. I hope I pronounce it correctly. And this Coil took the Coil and carried away. While the Coil was carried away, he lamented, saying that if I had been staying in my own domain, in my own resort, rather than strayed out from their own domain, then this hawk would not have chance to get it. And this is, I found it very relevant to this current day, that we should be staying indoor in our own domain where is our safety. And if not necessary, then we shouldn't be going out. And here the word is used, strayed out from their own domain, and this hawk got the chance to get it. And then the hawk asks back to the Coil that, where is your domain? And he said, the Coil said that it's a freshly plowed field covered with the clods of sew. And here, the hawk got the impression that he is very powerful. Here is he sees very powerful, and she could catch this Coil immediately without any delay and without any trouble. So then the hawk says, then the hawk, confidence of her own strength, not boasting of her own strength, released the Coil, saying, go now, Coil, but even there you won't escape from me. Yeah? So the hawk simply said to him that even there you won't be able to survive from me. I will come and get you. And then the Coil went into the freshly plowed field, covered with the clods of soil. Having climbed up on a large clod, he stood there and addressed to the hawk, saying, come and get me now, hawk. Come and get me now, hawk. So he simply challenged this little creature, Coil, challenge to the hawk after he was released with full and confidence. Then the hawk, confident of her own strength, not boasting of her own strength, folded up both her wings and suddenly swamped down on the Coil. Yeah, so the hawk basically, in order to get his strength, she has to put her two wings collected and then jumping. But when the Coil knew that hawk has come close, he slept inside that clod, and the hawk shattered her breast right on the spot. So it's because when one strays outside one's own resort into the domains of others. So therefore, do not stray outside your own resort into the domains of others. Mara will gain access to those who strays outside their own resort into the domains of others. Mara will get a hold on them. So basically, the simile is to suggest that the very moment when we are outside of our own domain or outside of our own resort, basically outside of our house, we feel unsafe. Could happen anything by anywhere, any other things. And here Mara suggesting basically all the dangers it will come and get. And here Mara, another form, signifies the death. And Buddha is saying that whenever we leave our domain and going into others' domain, there's always a vulnerability there. Like every cities, we know that there are some areas, particularly within the teenagers, young boys or even seniors. There are there are separated places that they can go and they can't go. The moment when they cross their boundaries, they are in danger, like that. So that's sort of a domain, around domain. The moment when you go into the other's domain, then there is the difficulties arises, problems arises. And Buddha further on saying that what is not one's resort, but the domains of others. And it is the 5 cores of essential pleasure. What 5? Forms cognizable by the eyes and the desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. Yeah? So this is, Buddha is basically saying that the domains of others is basically the form that we see. There are 5 pleasures, and those 5 pleasures, essential pleasures are the eye, and the ear, the nose, the tongue, and the body. And whatever comes to contact with these 5 senses, and as we go into it and we engage with it, and we lost our own control ourselves, and we simply give our power to those resorts, and with that we are losing our own self, and we are not in our own domain. So the first essential pleasure is the forms. So any object, the form that eye sees, we cognize by it, cognize it by the eyes, and we desire for that, and feeling lovely and pleasurable and agreeable, and then it's enticing and tantalizing. So we basically lose our control over this beauty that we have seen. Similarly, the sound cognizable by the ear, odors cognizable by the nose, tastes cognizable by the tongue, tactile objects cognizable by the body that are desirable, lovely, agreeable, pleasing, sensually enticing, tantalizing. These are the 5 cores of essential pleasure. This is what is not a bhikkhu's own resort, but the domains of others. And here, when we look at it very closely, we know that normally our life is defined by the sensual pleasures, these 5. And then whatever we think, whatever we desire, again, always related to the 5 senses. The things that we see, the things that we hear, things that we smell, and the things that we eat, and then any tactiles that brings us the comfortability and happiness. So we normally go on into it and then lose our control. So we simply lost on that, lost our control over it. And with this, what happens is that we do not know our own self. We are carried by our desire, and with that desire, we will be thinking as we please, as we like, and that is known as not our domain. Move in your own resort, in your own ancestral domain. Mara will not gain access to those who move in their own resorts, in their own ancestral domain. Mara will not get a hold on them. Now here, basically explaining that the moment when the people, when we learn to live in our own domains, our own resort, and here it's called ancestral domain. It's called Sanatana. This ancestral domain is the old domain that whoever stays in, that the Mara will not take it, well, Mara will not see it. So that's why the attainment of a Nibbana is known as deathless. So there is no death. Amatang Dhammang. So there is no death at all. So the Mara will not see you, and that is. And what is a resort? His own ancestral domain. It is the establishment of a foundation, establishment of a mindfulness. What for? Here, bhikkhus. A bhikkhu dwells contemplating the body, in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regards to the world. He dwells contemplating feelings, in feelings, mind in mind, phenomena in phenomena, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed covetousness and displeasure in regards to the world. This is a bhikkhu resort, his own ancestral domain. So here a Buddha is simply saying that the safe place, not in terms of the conventional way of, or worldling way of looking at it. Nowadays we see that our safe place is to be in our own place. And I have known so many people that they live within only their house, and occasionally they are going into other family members, and again within the bubbles where they feel comfortable and where they feel safety, and which is understandable. And this is only for this life, life. Whereas Buddha's teaching here is ancestral domain is that whoever practice these four foundations of a mindfulness, which is the contemplating in the body, feeling, mind, and a phenomena, is a place that we can feel secure, we can feel safety, and also it helps to develop the spiritual gain, where we finally are able to attain the liberation, which is the Nibbana. So that's why we need to be very conscious about all the five senses, that whatever comes to contact with us, rather than letting these to take control over you, you become mindful of it, an ability to resort in your own mindful awareness of anything that comes to contact. And this, the moment when you become mindful of everything that is happening in the present moment, and you are not engaging with it, but observing them objectively, and let it be as they are, with a full understanding, and not engaging it, and thinking, and then with the skillful awareness, and with the full knowledge, knowing that when the moment when we leave ourself, our mindfulness, and then give strength to the five senses, we basically lose our control, and which is again the main reason why we buy things without a necessity, and then within hearing a few words we caught up into the fights and angry and jealousy and hate, like that. So the practice of a mindfulness meditation is basically the domains that we have to learn to be within ourselves at every moment. The moment when we learn to be within ourselves, every moment within the body, feeling, mind, and understanding the phenomena, then what happens is that we become able to live in a present moment, and the ability to deal with the present moment events without having any greed, hatred, and delusion towards it. We are not clinging towards any pleasant sensations by seeing objects or hearing nice voices or feeling of it, but we learn to know that and leave it as they are. The moment when we learn to know as they truly are, and the ability to be mindful of a body, feeling, mind, and a phenomena, then we basically living our own domain, which is safe, not only in the present moment life, but also in the future, and the end of it, it leads to the liberation, which is the nibbana, the deathless state of beings. That's a deathless state, the nibbana, and also known as supreme happiness, ultimate happiness, the nibbana. So this is a story of a hawk that do not stray outside of our own domain, but remain in our own domain, which is the safe and the secure place. And that our own domain, which is the ancestral domain that the noble ones have followed, and that is the establishment of a mindfulness, which is contemplating in the body, contemplating in the feeling, contemplating in the mind and the phenomena. So I end here for tonight's reflection, and if you want to know more about the 4 foundations of a mindfulness, then my previous talks is available on Facebook and YouTube. You can go and listen. As I said last week, that which I have spent a whole week explaining about these 4 foundations of a mindfulness, and that is basically because that is the foundation for following discourses that I am going to read and explain, and why these 4 foundations of a mindfulness is important. So Buddha will be giving in different ways of importance of it, so you can go and listen to that. So thank you everyone, and may you all be well and happy. May the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you. In a few moments time you're going to have evening chanting and guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us. Until then, good night and take care. See you shortly. Sadhu.